There are two basic housekeeping tasks you want to perform after you finish your mix. One is creating splits, and the other is bouncing alternate mixes. Splits, which are sometimes referred to as stripes or stems, are the individual parts of your song bounced down as separate files. So, in other words, I could have a bass split, a guitar split, a mellotron flute split, etc. Of course, backing up your session files is the first thing you'll need to do. But remember that since DAW software and operating systems are constantly getting updated, you want to make sure you bounce down your splits as audio files. This way, you should be able to pull them up on any computer and any operating system or software version in the future. Now, bouncing alternate mixes can really help you maximize the potential of your music library. So after I bounce down my main mix, the next thing I'll do is find elements in my arrangement that I think might be useful later on, for another spot perhaps. Almost 100% of the time, I'll bounce a drum-only version. I'll label this drum-only version with the tempo and name of the spot. So, for example, 154, Jello Busy Day Dessert. I have a dedicated folder called Drum Library on my hard drive reserved for these drum-only versions. By listing the BPM first in the file name, I can easily search my drum-only tracks by tempo, which I find most useful. If I'm working on a spot and don't have lots of time to create something new, I can go into my drum library folder and immediately get not only a single drum loop, but an entire drum arrangement from a spot I worked on previously. And bringing a drum arrangement into your session first can inspire the rest of your writing process if you're looking for something rhythmic to play off of. I'll bring it into my session and start playing some new parts to it, like a different bass line or some strings. I'll end up with an entirely different track. And the cool thing about these drum tracks is that you don't have to worry a whole lot about pitch or song key. This makes it possible to get a lot of mileage out of them. Of course, we can do the same thing with any of the elements on our track, like the guitar and the keyboard and the bass. With these, though, you might want to consider including their key in the file name. This way, you can see if they're instantly compatible with the melodic and harmonic parts in a different track. Anything you think might be useful in the future, consider archiving. Another way to get more from your tracks is to bounce down some additional mixes that have certain parts muted, especially some of the busier top layers in your track. Some of those ear candy elements you added might not work exactly with another spot and can be left out. You can end up creating tons of different mix variations if you want. I'd recommend just doing a few that you think might be useful. An obvious one would be to do an instrumental bounce of a track that had a vocal in it. And if your track has a vocal tag or mnemonic with melody or lyrics specific to a certain product, you should definitely bounce a version without these elements. Otherwise, your track will have no further lifespan. In addition to mining your tracks for sounds, loops, and drum parts, consider also creating cutdowns of various lengths for your track. If you have a 60-second spot, for example, cut it down to a 30 and a 15. Find the bars that can be eliminated while still leaving a musical result. The more versions you have, the more chances you have of selling your music in the future.